What is going on, YouTube? Ah, fuck my fucking nose. Holy fuck. Is it bleeding? Is it bleeding? What is going on, YouTube? It's Wad, and if you're anything like me, you love the light class. I mean, what's not to like? Right. Well, we have the most guns, 9 to be exact, giving lights lots of offense to choose from. This much choice can be scary for a class short in more ways than one, so I've decided to make it easy in the all-new, not just another tier list, the Light Weapons Edition. First on the list is the Dagger, a weapon that trades usefulness for one-shotting potential. Lights running this blade of throw have been told by teammates to
use a gun, you silly goose.
So many times they now play on mute. Nobody wants to hear that the thing they love most is bad for them. And boy is the Dagger bad for them. I mean, seriously, in a game where the two other classes have wall hacks and an entire inventory full of explosives, using the Dagger is begging to get rinsed 90% of the time. And in the event you do slip through the cracks, you better hope you land a backstrike, because failing to do so will result in your opponent's immediate panic. And guess what? The self-destruct button is live. Though in those rare occasions where you manage to string together a kill chain, oh my god. Or better yet, a good game. The feeling is like no other. Watching heavies dance like they've got a mouse at their feet after the first backstab, or cushioning your fall with a bed of tokens after successfully landing death from above is pure dopamine. That also subtly tells your foes that you are simply better. The flash factor is high with this one, but the inconsistencies of landing back blows and the overall squishiness of the light class are too much for flash alone to overcome. You will find it easier to go double or even triple negative with this weapon than to ever break an even score. And for that, the Dagger belongs in the D tier. Moving along to the LH1, or as those in the know call it, the low-hanging one, described as a medium to long-range weapon, the LH1 really shines in close to medium range combat. When I say close here, I'm talking seeing the whites of their eyes close. Unless you're this guy. Or this guy. I guess in these cases, close enough to touch them with a very long stick. In all seriousness, the LH1 has grown on me immensely since launch. The recoil is no longer cluttered by visual noise, the 2-time crit damage bonus has massive upside for more accurate players, and the 15-round magazine gives it the highest damage per magazine ceiling in the game. I'm not kidding, I crunched the numbers. Well, technically it's the M60 and the Lewis gun, but are you honestly telling me people are hitting all crits with these things? When it comes to the LH1's flash factor, things start to take a nosedive. Precise aim is one thing, but there's far too many weapons that require godlike aim with punishing mag sizes and fire rates for the LH1 to turn any heads. Don't get me wrong, being good with the LH1 is a flex. Just not a Cuban link swinging from your neck type of flex, but something more low-key, like a high-quality shirt. Mandatory? No. A nice luxury? You betcha. So yes, the LH1 can rip through enemies quickly and modestly. But can you? Really though? Or do you look like this? The B tier called. They want their gun back. Hey guys, it's Odd by Wad here alongside my trusty sidekick Odd by Crow to remind you that only 1.9% of you watching are subscribed. If you're enjoying my videos, take a chance on me and join the fastest growing community of champions in YouTube history. All you gotta do is hit that big red button on the bottom of your screen. Thank you guys, now let's get back to the video. Next up, the M11. For those of you who don't know, the name of this gun is really the 11M, short for 11 meters, because anything from this distance in is its sweet spot. Hipfire or ADS, it's your choice, but learn her spots and she'll treat you right. Wait a second, who wrote that? Going beyond this distance is where things start to get dicey. Damage drop off in a recoil pattern that swerves enough to make you call the cops on yourself being the primary issues. You're not clipping anyone across the map with it anytime soon, but you're a light main. Impossible shots are to you what water is to fish. Essential. It also has the best cosmetic in the game locked behind a paywall. This skin prints out receipts with kills. I'm not kidding, it keeps receipts. I'm I'm bumping its flash factor for this alone. Sure, it offers nothing to your team in medium to long range fights, but you don't care. It gets the job done fast and allows for a speedy exit. It's your KD's Trenbolone. And for that, it belongs in the B tier, ahead of the LH1. If ever there was a weapon that summarized all the characteristics of a light main, it'd be the SR-84. From the "we hit those" attitude to the total disregard for any sort of team play, the SR-84 is la creme de la creme. Immediately it checks all the right boxes. Paired with the finest relocation tech, the SR-84 promises a high KDR and plenty of opportunities for flair.
But Wad, I've played with hundreds of snipers who don't check any of your boxes.
2 words: marginal gains and edits. What's 2-0, 4-5, and double O's across 3 games? Nothing, right? Wrong. That's a 1.2 KDR there, friends. That's a 1.2 KDR. Well, what about missed shots? With careful editing, how will they ever know? Truthfully, most of us shouldn't be using the SR-84. And those of us who should be, well, you know who you are. But hey, the same is true of the light class. This makes the SR-84 a flashy but highly situational weapon, earning it a spot in the C tier. Dashing over to the SH-19, hold up. What's with game developers not giving their guns memorable names anymore? The SH-1900? What kind of ChatGPT generated garbage is that? You know what? Let's call it the
Say hello to my little friend!
Not today. The SH-1900 is proof that big things come in small packages. Loaded with 2 shells capable of dealing 150 damage each and a quick fire rate to boot, the SH-1900 is the weapon of choice for those lights whose noses get them caught in real-life rat traps. Patience and precision are this weapon's MO. Know when to strike and when to turn tail. Or just leave every lobby with more than 1 heavy per team. That works too. In terms of its flash factor, there really isn't a lot to say here. Despite what mediums and heavies might have you think, using this weapon well requires a lot of skill. Closing distance, landing shots, and evading gunfire and utility all at once is no small feat. So while I'll always slam my fist against my desk when I miss every shot on a dashing light before eating 2 shells, I'll now remember to smile and say,
not bad. Not bad at all.
It's not my personal choice, but there's no denying this gun is A tier. Next up is a weapon that began one of the most unexpected crossovers in recent memory. The sword. Are you fighting Alduin right now, or a heavy in a scaly sweater? I don't know, and you don't either. But from the finals non-sword using community, thank you for padding our stats. While the sword's damage is a step up from the dagger, it suffers from the same general problems. It's a melee weapon for the weakest class in a game where teams stay stacked. The ability to charge up its special attack while cloaked can give it an edge in one-on-one situations, but there's also a whack of utility that counters it. Like the dagger, making it work feels great, but really ask yourself, am I making it work? The defining feature of the bladed light then is their refusal to play games on anyone's terms other than their own. Don't be fooled by their claims that the sword's actually a good weapon or that they played the objective. Just because they're running the cloak doesn't mean you have to let them pull it over your eyes. They are lone wolves disguised as teammates. At least dagger players are honest about this. In other words, the sword is the liar of the melee family, and without the one-shotting potential, it's hard to put it above its relative. Enter the realm of projectiles and you'll find the next weapon on the list. The throwing knives. A ranged gun in a melee weapon's body, the throwing knives provide players with unlimited ammo and an alternative attack that can hit big. The keyword here is can, and just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. They also have a really cool skin. Mobility is this weapon's selling point. Its bottomless magazine and slower fire rate freeing up players to be elusive in combat. There's no denying this complements the class that trades hit points for movement speed. The ability to prep alternative attacks while cloaked can also be a game changer when landed. But still, it's hard justifying a weapon that the LH1 beats at range and the SH1900 beats in close quarters off mobility alone. It's not bad, there's just better weapons available. Because of this, knife jugglers are like a mix of M11 sweats and Dagger trolls. They're bored of going double positive with the lights guns, but too scared to join the melee crowd. This makes them talented players caught up in a reverse boosting limbo, in which the exit points are either entering their medium phase or embracing the light class for good. Flashy clips are part of this transition, but not a mainstay to the weapon. One thing for sure is, beware of any lights stuck in this loop. They are very, very troubled. All in, this makes the throwing knives a solid C tier weapon. We get it, you're good. But move along already or pick up a better weapon. Please. Following the throwing knives, we have the V9S. Jesus. Following the throwing knives, we have the Venom Snake. This is the weapon for adherence to the Chris Smoove philosophy that stealthy is healthy. Except it's not stealthy at all, it just has a silencer on it. Nice. This weapon excels in the hands of lights who resist hammering RT every time they see an enemy, which is, admittedly, a small portion of the class. Boasting a high fire rate alongside a base damage of 36 and a crit damage of 53, this thing has the lowest time to kill for all three classes. The only problem again is you. I should really stop insulting my viewers. I'm sure you guys hit all your shots. On its own, this weapon isn't flashy. The speed in which a capable light can use it to turn enemies into fountains of coins, however, is very impressive. To turn it up a notch, throw some real cash at the game and buy the John Wick tux. It's not a waste of money, it's an investment. This is one of those weapons you find yourself having a good game with even when it doesn't feel like it, which earns it a spot in the A tier. I'm putting it above the SH1900, but they're probably interchangeable. It's not as flashy, it's just so damn good. Last on the list is the MP5K, the XP54. This is the weapon of choice for lights who haven't touched grass since December 7th. And for good reason. For starters, it has the best sights in the game, and unlike other sights that won't be named, your bullets go where you think they'll go. Add to that a 30-round magazine, a high fire rate, and an easy-to-control recoil pattern, and you've got a sweatbag starter pack. All this makes the XP54 a 3-level weapon, excelling in close to medium range especially, but holding its own at longer ranges. In other words, it's perfect for ego-challenging F-cars across the map. I'm not gonna overthink this one, this video's dragged on long enough. This is, without a doubt, the best light weapon and arguably the best weapon in the game. It's S tier. If you enjoyed the video and would like a part 2, hit that like button. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment down below. But before you do, remember, these are just my opinions, which means they're right because I'm never wrong. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.